from WCIA 3 Plus. With Ethan Holesha and Tyler Hill, this is Midwest Mashup.
What is up, and welcome into the 43rd episode of Midwest Mashup. My name is Tyler Hill, co-hosting everything we do here at Midwest Mashup, which is covering the pro sports teams in Chicago, Indianapolis, and St. Louis. We'll hit all three of those cities today. Who's here with me to do it? As always, it is Ethan Holesha. Ethan, how are you doing fresh off your Chicago trip?
Doing great, man. Spent some good quality time with family and friends this weekend, and boots on the ground at a White Sox game, and they got the win. We'll jump into that soon, but it was just a really good time. And you know, this is the sport of the summer, and so got to enjoy it firsthand.
Is there anything better than just going to a baseball game on a Sunday?
No.
And it's sunny.
Yeah.
And it's perfect weather.
Yeah, it felt like 80 degrees, and
it was still April at that time, but May too, right? And June, like all these different months. Or sorry, it was May this past month.
Yep.
Now we're in June. I mean, it's beautiful.
It's perfect, and it's like straight out of a movie. You're there, you're enjoying the food, and there's a ton of people, and there was a lot of people at the game, almost 29,000 in attendance. It's huge. So
the White Sox are so back, and so we will not, without further ado at all, we're not going to pause it or string it out any longer. The White Sox, 32-29, second in the AL Central. That puts them 2.5 games back of the Cleveland Guardians. And then they're 2 games ahead of the next team in the wild card. So building up a little bit of a lead right now. Again, still pretty early. We're in the first half of the season, but separation is happening a little bit in the American League where it was very, very tight. So before we get to some good news, I think we're going to lead with the bad news just because that is the biggest news. But Munetaka Murakami expected to be out 4 to 6 weeks with the grade 2 hamstring strain. For those who don't know, hamstring strains literally mean that you ripped your hamstring, and so not a good injury to get at all. Going to be out a month and a half. I'm sure even if they want to take it a little gingerly and just not rush him back, could be 2 months possibly, or if there's a setback, anything like that. And we were going back and forth, and I guess outside of it being a more major injury, I don't know if the White Sox could have gotten worse news right now. I think it's the worst player for it to happen to. The injury, while it's not a torn ACL or anything like that, these hamstring strains can linger and just be tough to overcome. Not a good thing for the White Sox, obviously.
No, and especially with things trending so up. I mean, they're at a point where they were 21-31 in their last 30-plus games. They were hitting their stride at the right time, and this is a team that's offense has been so built on power, and who's been at the forefront of that? Murakami. I mean, he's still second in the MLB with 20 home runs, first guy to 20 home runs in the AL, which is crazy for a rookie. I know he's 25 and he's played professionally before, but I don't think anyone thought, there was a lot of hype with him coming into Chicago, but I don't think anyone thought he would be this good, this early at least.
People are going to have to step up, and that's what we'll get to right now, because people did step up, especially in the 15-2 win over the Twins, which is the game that you were boots on the ground for. Tell us about that game.
Oh, the 15.
Or wait, Sunday's win. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
So we'll start with the game that you went to.
Yes.
Then. Which game did you go to?
It was the 2-1 win over the Tigers on Sunday. And this was such a huge game because it was their 5th in a row, and they had just come off playing 2 division opponents back-to-back. So this was a 3-0 series sweep, and even in a game where the offense really wasn't going, they had 2 hits through the first 6 innings. Montgomery comes up to the plate, hits a home run, kind of breaks things open, and then a few singles allowed the Sox to take a lead, and then the pitching just carried it home from there. It was huge.
And talking about guys stepping up, Montgomery is one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's honestly, so it's Murakami, and he's getting a lot of the headlines when it comes to power for this lineup, but Montgomery is right there with them, especially for the position he plays. Shortstop, not known for being the power spot.
Right.
And he is hitting a ton of homers. Does it there and really carries his offense in this game. The other guy, as you just look at these games this week, Vargas, man.
No, he's
just absolute tanks.
Unbelievable. And even in the loss, it was 2 nights ago, was the series opener against the Twins. Game 3 literally just started right now, I saw. But Sox lost 6-4, but Vargas had 2 home runs in that game. He now leads all third basemen with 15 home runs. Him and Montgomery both have 15 home runs. So the Sox already have 3 players with 15-plus home runs on the season. That's been huge. And like I said, losing Murakami at this time is just so tough because that's what the success of this team has kind of been built on to this point. But like you said, when you have guys like Montgomery and Vargas, it is not the end of the world. It's still a very big deal that he's out, but you have these other guys stepping up and in ways that they really haven't before, especially Vargas. I mean, this is easily the best season he's had in his career, and it's not relatively close.
Yeah, and so the other thing that we've talked about a couple times, but now that you actually went to a game in person, I want to really hit on it, is how the vibe of this team has shifted from the past 2-3 years of just so much losing. We were joking, you could go to a game, and I think it was $19 for the ticket, 2 hot dogs and a beer, or it was like 2 hot dogs and 2 beer. I forget exactly what it was, but there was just, they were begging people to come to the stadium. How has that changed, and what did you see when you actually went in person to the rate?
I think it was huge because, you know, honestly, even in like the down years, whatever you want to call it, which is pretty much every year, but there's a nice picture of me and my parents. Shout out Bob and Michelle. But dude, Sundays are always big games because they always have family deals. They always have you know, ticket deals. They have food deals, but not to this. I mean, it felt like a sellout crowd there. Like there were some open seats in the 500 level section, which is fine, but it literally felt like a sellout game. And the atmosphere, you could just tell it's just more alive, and the crowd is buzzing. I think something that I realize is, like, you know, going to games in the past, if there's like, you know, 2 outs and it's a big, you know, at bat coming and it's close in the game, like the crowd will be into it, but like it was deafening. The sound was on Sunday. And so I think just where this team is at and you know, Southside fans and Sox fans not really being able to experience this much in recent years, I think that makes it so much more important. And I definitely felt it actually being there, which was so sick.
Yeah, and that's how you can feel that the fans are really rallying behind this team. And regardless of what happens down the stretch, I think that this season has just given so much hope to White Sox fans. Okay, we actually have we're not just losing and we have no recourse and we have this weird assembly of players that are some young, some old. What are we doing? What's the path? There's actually a direction forward now in a way 100%. That I don't think there was 2 years ago. Really, even last year, I don't think you could point to a direction and say, here's who we're hanging our hat on, or here's like our top 5 core players. And I think there's a clear tier of that for the White Sox. Now, Colson Montgomery is a part of that. And his stats this year are just ridiculous. Hitting, defense, everything you would want in your shortstop.
Yeah, and, you know, you could look at the average and be like, okay, he's batting .235. It's 22nd among shortstops. But in today's MLB, batting average does not matter as much. No. Power matters. And guess what? First among shortstops with 15 home runs. He's third in RBIs with 36, fourth in OPS 827. And like you mentioned, defensively, he's in the 99th percentile.
Yeah.
Second in outs above average for shortstops, and that's third in the MLB overall. So he's not only getting it done at the plate, which he has stepped up time and time again with clutch hits, clutch home runs, but he has been absolutely rock solid defensively, and he made a couple nice plays on Sunday, which I got to see, which was awesome.
Love that. Yeah, I think it was funny on Twitter. There was a discussion about what is the most accurate and most telling stat in all of sports. And OPS came up a ton. A lot of people were referencing, hey, you know, it's not batting average, it's not field goal percentage in basketball or anything like that. It's OPS. And you look at his OPS, like you said, it's 4th. This guy is hitting tanks. He's getting extra base hits and then adding that defense on top of it, which is perfect for the shortstop. Obviously, you want every position in baseball to be really good offensively and really good defensively. Duh. But it matters, I think, extra at like third base, shortstop, these positions where you are getting these hot ground balls and just tough plays that he is able to make. Before we leave the White Sox, anything else that you would like to hit?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Davis Martin finally had his second loss yesterday.
Yeah.
Not a great outing. But I mean, it's just going to happen. You know, I'm not worried going forward. I don't think it's any regression or anything. I think sometimes this just happens. But Anthony Kay was a guy that had a 6+ ERA in April, and then looking back at May, he pitched 32 innings, had a 1.95 ERA, only allowed just over 1 walks plus hits per innings pitch, and super efficient, a lot of strikeouts.
More like Anthony K.
Dude.
Am I right?
Who's this? Out! Dude, we gotta, later this summer, we have to have an updated strike.
I was walking into the station thinking, and then we gotta have I think we need a batting stance one as well. But then the next thing I thought of is that, you know, somebody steps up like right here with their batting stance. We have an actual bat, and then we just murder all of this technology here.
Yes.
So we'll spitball.
Listen, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Do not let production hear that, but you know, all this.
This computer right there, we're specifically going for that one.
Yes. gave us some issues before this episode.
So
but that's neither here nor there.
We're cruising now, but
Yeah.
I mean, behind the scenes, there's stuff that goes wrong. The last stat, and I meant to hit this because it just blew my mind. So the Sox, as we said, 32-27 through 59 games.
Yep.
Took 141 games for the Sox to get their 32nd win in 2024. If you guys don't know, there's only 162 games in an MLB season. I say only. That's so many games. Improvement.
Yeah.
There's not much to say other than wow, this is just a way better team.
It's funny because every week we could go back and be like, hey, compared to the 2024 team, they were so bad.
They were so bad.
It's unbelievable how bad they were.
And in no direction. And so shout out the White Sox.
Shout out.
You've got your path here to be relevant. Please don't do anything dumb like trading Murakami or anything like that. Because the Sox fans still on social media have no idea how to handle this. It blows my mind.
And it's like you mentioned about 5 minutes ago, this team actually has direction. It's last year when the season started, we still had Andrew Vaughn and Luis Robert, who were kind of those veteran guys that were there in that 2021 year when they won the division. But it's we kind of just need a clean house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got rid of Pedro Griffel. They got Will Venable as a new manager. So it's kind of like a clean slate now. And you have all these younger guys coming up at the same time, but also coming into their own at the same time, which is awesome to see.
No, something you definitely want to see is the team all on the same timeline, the same path, and growing together.
Which can be hard sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because you miss on 2 years of draft picks, and now you're off a little bit in the years and the contracts that you're having to sign and stuff like that. So love where the White Sox are at right now. After the break, we had a Midwest matchup.
Dude, nice.
The Cardinals and the Cubs played big series in St. Louis. I actually had a friend, one of our CrossFit coaches, go out there and go to one of the games as a Cubs fan. But we will break mostly. We'll give you all the games for all the teams, but mostly we're going to sit on that series after the break.
Let's do it.
Back to Midwest Mashup, where, like I said before the break, we had a Midwest match up.
Nice.
Which also, this reminded me, when we first pitched the show, we were telling everybody, hey, Midwest Mashup is our name because it's the 3 pro cities. We're all mashing them up. Everyone thought it was Midwest Matchup.
Yeah. I mean, our graphics people thought it was Midwest
Originally,
Matchup.
Exactly. So this logo that you see in the corner, you can't really see it on this one. I guess I could. Here we go. Right here. Definitely the first one was Midwest Matchup. But they fixed it, and it looks good, and we love it right now.
Yeah, it looks great.
Cubs versus Cardinals. Again, we'll get to probably every game for both these teams, or at least as many as we can cover in a reasonable amount of time. But the biggest series was them playing each other.
Yep.
So, first game, 6-5. Cardinals take it. 6-1. Cubs take it. And in that third game, 5-1. Cardinals take that to take the series 2-1, which is big because the Cardinals have been on a slide. I think scrolling to make sure that I have this right, but they're, I think, 2-6. There we go, 2-6 in their last 8.
Yep.
The 2 wins, though, are really important ones, taking games over the division rival of the Cubs.
Yeah, it's huge, and those games have so much momentum swing because it's not only a win for you, it's a loss for the Cubs and a division rival, like you said. And then when push comes to shove, if you guys are close record-wise, that's going to matter head-to-head, at the end of the season, etc. But just winning those games, and, like you said, the Cardinals have not been great lately, but with the way the Cubs have been playing, it's like the Cardinals went out there and they took advantage of a team that is clearly, declining right now. And you mentioned in the break, it's not just the bats, it's the volatile pitching.
Yes.
Nothing is clicking right now for the Cubs.
No, they don't have anything to hang their hat on right now, other than, PCA is playing well. We'll get to that when we talk about just specific players of the week, things like that.
Yep.
I do want to hit those. So this first game, 6-5, Cardinals take it. Nelson Velasquez, I guess we'll figure that out. But he got called up from AAA. He's a 27-year-old outfielder. He's played a little bit. He actually played for the Cubs, I think 2 years ago. Gets called up, 2 for 3 with a homer. And his first game against the Cubs, just amazing story for him to be on this team and fills a need for them right now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's so cool to see a guy, that's like, I guess been bouncing up and down throughout his career.
Definitely a journeyman.
Yeah, get called up and then just have a big moment. And, what a better team to do it against than a division rival, and it's the Cubs. And obviously the Cubs and Cardinals in that division probably have the strongest rivalry, I'd say, out of any 2 teams. So just awesome to see him, getting it done. And then Ivan Herrera has been one of the guys for the Cardinals. Also had a home run that game. And yeah, that first game was really it was back and forth. Shota went 5 innings, but ended up giving up 5 runs, 5 hits, and he's kind of, it seems like, regressing back to his old ways.
It's such a Shota game because
I know
he's so funny. He's almost like the anti Nashawn Wright, where it was like, the down to down's not great, but he makes big plays. It's like the opposite, where for most batters, or just for if you did the game by percentage, he's pitching pretty well, and then he just gives up absolute nukes, and it doesn't matter because he lets up 5 runs, and so it's just it's tough when you have him in there, and the way he pitches, he just gets fly balls, and these fly balls are getting carried out of the stadium. So that was a 6-5. Cardinals take it. 6-1. The Cubs do bounce back. PCA hit an absolute missile of a home run. And now is where I want to talk about him, because he has 9 hits in the past week. That's tied for 3rd among all players in MLB, and really had the big bounce back week that we have been begging for him to have from the plate.
Yeah, and that moment, you have the crowd chanting overrated. Hit just absolutely hits a missile, 114 miles per hour off the bat.
That's so fast.
Yeah, it's the hardest hit home run of his career, and I feel like PCA, obviously he's a very emotional player, so he thrives off of those kind of moments. You have the crowd behind you, you have the tarps off section chirping you, and what do? You just hit a frozen rope straight to them over there.
Yeah, and I think you say he's a very emotional player. I do think he's a very momentum-based player as well. This is a game I think that really shows that, right? He's 4 for 5, 2 runs. He has that big home run. When things are going well and he's really locked in, it snowballs downhill in a good way where it's just really tough to stop him. But we've also seen it this season be the other way, right? Where he struggles, it's a couple strikeouts, he's not seeing the ball real well, and it can be tough for him to break out of that. So hopefully this is, hey, we're on a good trajectory now. We're able to build this into just more consistent play, because everyone else in the lineup is not playing well. I don't think that's really an exaggeration at all. There is no one in this lineup outside of him that is consistently hitting in the past. Could probably go all the way back to 2 or 3 weeks from now.
You'll have players like Michael Busch or Alex Bregman step up for a game, like Ian Happ. But like you mentioned, it's like they could be 2 for 3 with a home run, then they won't get a hit for the next 2 games. It's been brutal, and there's no identity to this team right now. It's kind of like they're just, I don't know, like the 6-1 win over the Cardinals. That's a good win, but they're not having many of those games where they're kind of just dominating or in control, because their pitchers are giving up 1 million hits and just so many strikeouts from the batters, and there's just no momentum at all, like you said before.
Yeah, and so JJ Weatherholt, last guy that I'm going to hit on personally here, because in that loss even, he went 3 for 4, really good performance there.
He's just a stud, man.
And then in the 5-1 win, he goes 2 for 3. He was one of the runs for that game as well. So continuing to string along, he hasn't hit the rookie wall yet, so still something we're monitoring. Obviously, again, 162 games, that's so many games to have to go through. You're just not really used to that, even in the minors where you're playing a lot of games. It's not this many in this big of situations, but so far he's been able to continue what he did to start the year.
Yeah, 100%. And, he's getting it done defensively as well. He's just been such a solid player, and honestly, I don't see how he's not the front runner for Rookie of the Year or just up there in the NL this year. Just the situation he was kind of thrown into, where it's like, this is a younger team. It almost, reminds me, excuse me, of the White Sox a little bit, but I feel like the Cardinals are even earlier on in their rebuild or retool, because it's like they just got rid of their veteran players. JJ Weatherholt's a guy who's, crushing it in spring training, but it's like, are we going to bring this guy up? Clearly that was the right move, because
100%.
he is thriving around other players that are also playing well for the Cardinals this year. But it's really cool to see, the Cardinals are all 3 of these teams pretty much have the same record, but it's just like for the Cardinals and the Sox, it's like they weren't even supposed to be in this conversation.
No.
And the Cubs it's like, hey, they're probably going to win the division this year. And now, teams are trending in the wrong directions. But it's cool for the teams like the Sox and what we're talking about now, the Cardinals, some of these younger teams to be trending in the right direction ahead of schedule is what it seems like.
Yeah, some great storylines there for sure. For the Cardinals, before we finish off with the Cubs, we talked about Nelson Velasquez getting called up. Another guy getting called up, Jimmy Crooks, catcher, getting called up from the AAA Memphis. I think it's literally just the Memphis Cardinals.
Is that not a Drake and 21 Savage song, Jimmy Crooks? I could be wrong.
You might have to do some Googling for that because I don't know off of the top of my head. So
Let's see.
I'll tap the until you figure that out. But he was the number 7 prospect in their system. The manager, Oliver Marmol, says he will be the number 2 catcher. We got an update.
Jimmy Cooks.
Oh.
1 letter off.
So close.
Some really good nickname potential, though, there. Walk-up song. Just throwing it out there, Jimmy, if you're watching the pod. So,
dude, listen, can we get this to Jimmy? I think somebody needs to let Jimmy know.
Yeah.
So he hit 262 with a 412 on base percentage, 979 OPS, 13 home runs. That's in 141 at-bats in the minors in 2026. That was all in AAA from what I could find on the minor league website. And then in 3 games so far, he's 3 for 9. So, not a big sample size, obviously, but playing good. And if he can be this number 2 catcher, I think that is a perfect spot for him.
Yeah, and it's another young guy coming up and kind of just filling a spot for the Cardinals. And that's what we've kind of seen all year. These younger guys are stepping up in ways that they haven't before. We've talked about Jordan Walker just to continue beating the same drum, but he's been a guy that's almost been an MVP level candidate player so far this season. Obviously, he's cooled off a little bit, but just to see guys that are coming up through, whether it be the farm system or just stepping up in a spot that they weren't in last season because of some of the veterans that were in their roles. It's just really cool to see some of these guys performing better than they were expected to. Another guy's like Matthew Liberatore, a pitcher that was not really supposed to do much this year, but he has
His
just had
curveball is filthy, man.
Yeah, dude, and he's had solid outing after solid outing, and it's been awesome, really.
I love it. And I just like when the Cardinals are good. This is the last thing before we go to break. It's one of those teams where there's so much history.
Oh, yeah.
When they're good, I think, you talked about it with the Cubs rivalry, how good of a rivalry that is when both teams are able to measure up and play to that level. The past couple of years, the Cardinals really haven't been at the Cubs level in that way, so it's really fun to have them be a good team in the National League. They are 2-6 in their last 8, like we said. Their fans are melting down on social media, so we're really hoping this next week can bounce back because they're already ready to give up on the season. We're going to hit a break. We'll wrap up some baseball. We'll probably hit like 1 or 2 more Cubs things. Then we got a lot coming for you. Mock trades for both the Bulls and Pacers. This is really fun. We get to just be GMs for 10 or 20 minutes. We'll show you the ones that we came up with after this. West mashup as we wrap up our baseball segment. I'm going to give you the records for the Cardinals and Cubs because we did not hit that yet either. Yes. Cardinals right now 31-28. That puts them at 3rd in the NL Central. They are 6.5 games back of the Brewers, who look like a juggernaut again this year.
They're inevitable.
And they are 0.5 or half a game back in the wild card. Cubs, very, very similar. So 32-29, which does put them at 4th in the NL Central, technically, just because of how that works. 6.5 games back of the Brewers as well, and also a half game back in the wild card right now. The last thing I want to hit on with the Cubs, just because I thought that this encapsulates their bats very well, they're 27th in OPS last week. Like, this is a team that is just not putting bats on balls and getting hard contact. It's just not coming together right now.
Yeah.
The pitching's not there to make up for it, and so something's got to give. Either you got to get the guys back off injury that we've talked about all year, or you just got to start hitting the ball better and realize, hey, we're going to have to put up 4, 5, 6 runs at least to get wins right now.
Yeah, and it's just so funny. Like, Ben Brown seems to be their best pitcher right now, and going into a season where everyone's healthy, he would be the 4th or 5th pitcher. So Correct. It's just like that is not a position that you want to be in. But with the pitching troubles and the injuries, the bats need to wake up, and they need to be, the identity of this team, and they just haven't been to this point. And, on the win streak, it's like, yeah, they were able to string together some nice wins, but it's so volatile and inconsistent. And right now they're just on the wrong end of that.
Definitely on a downswing big time. We're going to switch gears to basketball because it's the off season, and one of the most fun things right now in the NBA is to make some trades, right? Sure, the Spurs look like they're going to win every title for the next 10 years. Maybe.
Yeah,
OKC, also a juggernaut. It seems like now that I think about it, they're going to trade back titles every year for the next 10 years. But that doesn't mean that the Chicago Bulls and the
trophy
Indiana
is not going to even sniff the Eastern Conference.
Dude, oh my gosh. Well, and that's why I'm glad you brought that up. I think the Pacers should make another trade because they didn't get the lottery pick. That sucks a lot. Spin zone, though, you keep your 2031 pick, which is another first-round pick that you can trade now to get a better player. And so that's what we're doing It's mock trades that we would do if we were GMs right now for the Bulls or the Pacers. We're going to start with the Pacers. And great minds think alike. We both had Trey Murphy trades, so we'll start with yours.
Yes.
And then move on to mine. And honestly, they're pretty similar just in their base compensation.
Yeah.
But you had a couple more players in there that you wanted to hit.
Yeah, I think, if the Pacers are able to land Trey Murphy forward with the Pelicans, I think he averaged 21.5 points per game last year. He's just
6'11", really good shooter, really good defender, lanky guy on the wing. I think the reason we both gravitated towards him, I don't know if there's a better supplementary piece that the Pacers could use.
100 million %.
Because if there is a nitpick with this team, it is that, okay, so Siakam is a wing kind of playing that hybrid 3-4 role. Outside of that, their wing offense is just not great. It's Aaron Nesmith, who's not a great creator.
Yeah.
And then he's a little limited on defense just because of his size. He's not a bigger guy. Dude, Trey Murphy feels like a perfect puzzle piece to try and unlock this team.
If you have him, Halliburton, and Siakam out there, I mean, they're running the East pretty much.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because, I love the Knicks. They're playing great right now. Am I as scared as I am of the Thunder and the Spurs if I'm in the West? Not at all. I mean, this is a team that the Pacers easily beat last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trey Murphy did this. I think it'd be great. So you had the Pacers getting Trey Murphy just straight up, nothing else in there. The Pelicans would get Andrew Nembhard, Jarris Walker, Ben Shepherd, and then a couple of first-round picks. Again, mine was pretty similar. So I had Trey Murphy for Obi Toppin, Jarris Walker, and 3 firsts. So yours a little more player-heavy, mine a little more picks-heavy. I think this is just me trying to guess for the Pelicans. I would think they're at a spot where you would want picks rather than players, but they also traded up to get a guy in Derek Queen and sold their pick that ended up being this year's pick for the Hawks. So do they think they're in win now mode? So that's why I could see either way either one of these deals being realistic.
Yeah, and you still have Zion Williamson on your team. I know he doesn't play a lot, but still an all-star level player when he is out there.
He never plays.
No, I'm going to be honest. He just does not play. But Trey Murphy,
he's such a big boy.
Very solid player, man. He would be a perfect fit for the Pelicans. And some of these guys I have, like Nembhard, Walker, and Shepherd, you can afford to give those guys up, and it's not going to.
100%.
These guys aren't moving the needle a ton. Obviously, they have their role on this team, but I just think Trey Murphy would be a guy that could give the Pacers chances for probably the next 5 years, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of like, now that I'm looking at it, I might swap mine where instead of sending Obi Toppin and Jarris Walker, I might do Andrew Nembhard. Just because I think Nembhard's a better player, so it increases the value a little bit.
Yep.
But also, I like then how that starting lineup is going to be Halliburton. Then you got Nesmith at the 2, which I think is more his position ideally.
Yes.
Murphy at the 3, Siakam at the 4, just kind of those are pretty interchangeable. And then you got Zubac at the 5.
That's a good starting 5.
Really good starting lineup. I would say if they make this trade, they go into next year as the favorites in the East. Are you on board with that?
I think so. Yeah, I think that Knicks would probably be right there just because of what they've been able to do in this postseason. Yep. Obviously, if that roster is able to be kept intact, I don't know exactly where contracts are with that, but I would imagine it to them, and then the Knicks right up there in that 1-2 spot.
Yeah. Okay. What's the next trade that you would like to hit? Because we have a few. I would say that's the big one. Like that is we're taking a home run grand slam type of swing. And then we both have some smaller moves they can make around the margins.
Yeah, and Malik Monk, interestingly enough, because you'll get into the deal that you possibly had with him later, but I think the Pacers could go after a guy like this, be a solid, scorer from the bench, but send maybe like T.J. McConnell in a 2029 second round. Obviously, Malik Monk, I don't think commands anywhere near what Trey Murphy does.
No.
And this would be a supplementary piece, I don't even think in the starting lineup, but he would just be kind of a spark plug guy coming off the bench.
I think so. I think he'd be the perfect 6-man role and getting off the bench. And, I mean, he has exploded for 30-point games before. Like, this is a guy who has that microwave potential.
Yep.
Also a very solid defender. Not great, not amazing, but a very solid guy, lanky, athletic. So I think that he would fit right in with a Pacers team that loves to play in transition as well. That is where he shines. He's got, an amazing dunk highlight reel that you can look at right now in transition. So I love that for them. I have a Bulls trade for him. We'll get to that when we get to the Bulls. My other trade, very similar, just a different player. So this is with Cleveland, and it would be sending Ben Shepherd and a first-round pick for Jalen Tyson. Fun fact, that is Jordan Tyson's brother, the wide receiver out of Arizona State that was drafted to the New Orleans Saints. Jalen, though, has been playing really well. He averaged 14, and then I think it was about 5 and 5.
Yep.
in a pretty solid role with Cleveland. I think Cleveland is going to be looking to blow some stuff up and trade. They just needed a shake up there. And so giving them a first-round pick, they got a little more flexibility now because they don't really have any picks now with the trades that they made for Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. So I'm saying, hey, we'll give you a pick. You guys now can take that pick and make another move. And we get just an upgraded version of Ben Shepherd. Also a little bit younger, if I'm remembering correctly. Just upgrading on the fringes and saying, hey, we're making our bench a little bit better as we make this playoff run.
And I like this, too, because like we mentioned, it seems that the Pacers are just set up right now for win now mode. It's like, let's improve the team right now. We don't need to stockpile on draft picks. Obviously, having a lottery pick this year would have been awesome for the team, but that's just not the reality anymore. So you have to beef up this roster now, and that is not only looking at the starting lineup, it is also looking at the bench. So I think this would be a great move. Adding Tyson, I think, like you said, it would definitely be an upgrade from a guy like Ben Shepherd. But just alleviating some of the pressure from, we don't know what Halliburton's going to look like this year.
Yeah,
so.
and you never know with injuries, again, so if Nesmith gets hurt, you slide in there. And I even think, honestly, Tyson would compete with Nesmith for that starting spot. You would have two really, really good options there. Yep. One last one for the Pacers. You had one centering around Michael Porter Jr. from the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, and I think you could even send a, Nembhard, Obi Toppin, maybe a 2020 or 2031 first and then a 2030 second. I think the Nets are probably in a spot right now where they're kind of just stuck in limbo.
Yeah, why would you want to keep him?
No, there's no point. This is not a guy that you're like, hey, this is the guy that we're building around for a rebuild here. But I think, again, this would help the Pacers immediately offensively.
This is the poor man's Trey Murphy thing.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, if we don't have enough, or the Pelicans have said multiple times for some reason that they are just not trading Trey Murphy.
Yep.
If that's the case, I see it as a very easy pivot to go, okay, well, Michael Porter Jr. is not as great defensively. I don't think he's as good offensively. Yeah. But it's a similar profile of player that you can get for, I would think, a little cheaper.
100%. And like you said, this is probably the next best case scenario for them. Yeah. This is a guy that can stretch the floor. I mean, we've seen what Michael Porter Jr. has been able to do throughout his career, but I just think all these trades are centered around improving the Pacers right now.
Yes.
And that is what they need to do. They're not looking to, hey, what are we going to look like in 2 to 3 years? They're like, we need to be in win now mode. We just made the finals last year with a healthy roster. Let's get even better and give us ourselves a chance to win a championship.
100%, because you can't look that far down the line. No. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So let's go ahead and try and make a push right now. When we come back, we'll do the same thing, but this time with the Chicago Bulls. Back at the WCIA 3+ studios in Champaign, we are doing mock trades for the Pacers and Bulls. If you missed that Pacers segment, you can check it out. It's about 10 minutes. We get into mostly the Trey Murphy trades that we would like for them to make, but also some guys like Michael Porter Jr. and Malik Monk to get better on the margins. We are now doing the same exercise but for the Chicago Bulls. They have different goals. For them, it's less adding pieces and players and more trading them away. But I thought you put in a really interesting option. That's, I guess, the one that goes against what I just said. Because Chet Holmgren just had a horrific Western Conference Finals.
He did.
I've never seen an NBA player more sad while playing a game and their team still being in the game in a position where they could win than Chet Holmgren. It blew my mind.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he finished 1 of 2 with 4 points.
1 of 2,
in
4
Game
points.
7. I mean, what are we doing?
And bad defense, horrific fouls that would send Wemby to the line, and at the worst times possible, the rebounding wasn't there.
Yeah.
I get it. Total zero.
I get it because Wemby is such a good player, but these guys have been going at it since junior leagues.
But also, and I get that, and I've heard people say that where it's like, oh, Wemby just changes the math and you just have to skew your expectations. I don't know, man. Chet was a third-team All-NBA guy. He's supposed to be a top 15 player in the league theoretically. So, I get that this is a tough matchup for him.
Yeah, he was a liability.
But you could not play him. Dagnall, their coach, took him out at the end of the game and was like, well, Jared McCain, I guess, has to be in there because Chet's not going to score anything. And so if he, instead of having 22 points per game, he's at 15 and it was tougher, I'm like, okay, he took 2 shots in a game 7.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You just can't do that.
No, it doesn't matter who's guarding you. It doesn't matter if it's Wemby. It doesn't matter if it's literally it's Shaq on you. You need, like you said, this is a All NBA All-Star level player who I mean, he sold.
It was just bad.
That's pretty much it. And it seemed
But
like
spin zone could be good for the Bulls.
yes, this is the mock trade that I have. I just wanted to cook something crazy up, and I'm like, listen, this is sports in general is such a what have you done for me lately kind of league.
And this is what Chet's done lately. He got ball stolen, falling on the ground,
And
dunked on. That's tough.
Where are your hands at, buddy? But it's funny because I still think Chet is a very good player. Yes, I do. There's a reason that he, was such a high school recruit. He had so much success coming up into the league, and now he's an all NBA level player. But maybe he needs a change of scenery. And
he's about to get really expensive is the other thing. He signed, I believe it's a $250 million extension.
Yeah.
So if you're going to move off of him, now is the time. And so your trade is the Bulls getting Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Joe, which is just a backup guard for the Thunder. Nikola Topic, same thing. He had a leg injury. Actually, I think it was ACL in the draft. He got drafted and hasn't played a ton. But he's supposed to be a pretty good player. Picks 12 and 17. The Thunder get Patrick Williams.
Shout out.
He finally gets removed from the Bulls roster. Trey Jones, nice backup point guard.
Yeah.
Isaac Okoro, and then picks 4 and picks 15. So this is if they are just really sold on, hey, really who we want as our defensive big of the future is not Chet Holmgren. We actually would rather have Caleb Wilson, theoretically, be our defensive big of the future, and then the Bulls get a really good player in Chet.
Yeah, and so maybe that's, they're like, hey, maybe Caleb fits OKC better than Chet does right now because of what we just saw in the playoffs. Obviously, the Bulls, they need a big badly. They need a big so badly. We can't have a guy that's 6'9" just starting at center anymore. It's just not ideal. I know Chet is kind of like a hybrid forward center at this point, but I just think maybe, in a place where he has a bigger role, he could thrive more. Maybe not. Maybe it would blow up in the Bulls' face because that's what happens a lot of the time. But, hey, man, why not just take a shot?
Fan. Well, and that's what I was going to say, man. Listen, if you're buying low right now, it's the name of the game. I don't have a problem with this at all.
Yeah.
My first trade is more of what we were talking about before, where we're sending players away, trying to get picks, and just trying to be bad for next year.
Yep.
This one I have the Timberwolves. Now, I know Bulls fans are saying, hey, the last time we traded with the Timberwolves, that didn't go very well. I know that, but I got Josh Giddey going to Minnesota for Julius Randle, TSJ, and then either 2 or 3 first-round picks. I couldn't decide which one. I don't know. That you would have to figure that out and which GM would want what. But what I'm thinking is you take Julius Randle, that contract, which is a bad contract at this point, I would say. The Timberwolves need a point guard really bad.
Yep.
That was a massive hole for them. They were playing Mike Conley 20 minutes, and Mike Conley is so
40.
old. Yeah. It was just, it's not a good thing. Dante DiVincenzo is out for, I would think, all of next year with the Achilles, so you need some guard help. You get it in Giddey. You can protect him because your defense everywhere else is just a lot better, and so it's not as glaring of a weakness as it is on the Bulls right now.
Right.
And for the Bulls, you just get 2 or 3 first-round picks. You're trying to rebuild. Perfect. You get a little worse, I think, in this trade. Also good if you're trying to tank. You get TSJ, hometown guy, at least in terms of Illinois and playing here.
Yeah, high motor guy.
Yep. And you bet on a guy that maybe he's a little bit better if he gets some more playing time because that's just been a problem in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then I think you can flip the Randall contract at some point if somebody wants a forward. You get some injuries on teams that are chasing the title. I think you could trade that later. I don't think you would build around Julius Randle by any means.
No, especially not at this point in his career.
But it makes the money work. You get the first-round picks. And so this is something that I could see them doing and working out for both teams.
I could too. And like you said, if we're tanking, you want first-round picks, obviously. Yeah. Building a future team. And TSJ, I mean, I've seen even on Timberwolves Twitter, everyone's like, why is he not getting more playing time?
I've never understood it, man.
I understand that there was some issues with his defense and just not picking up things in practice and then in game time, but he's explosive when he's out there, and he's still super young. I think he's 25 years old. So I think this would be a trade too, like you said. I mean, I think it's realistic just because the Timberwolves do need a point guard really badly. And I think that's what's missing. And they're a team that's constantly making it out of the first round of the playoffs. So I think that would allow them to take that next step immediately. with a young Anthony Edwards still, and they're kind of in win now mode. So I think this would be something that they would be all over, honestly.
100% agree. I want to hit this one real quick because this is my Malik Monk trade this time for the Bulls.
Yeah, go for it.
Another Giddey trade. So this is Giddey from Malik Monk and 2 firsts. You get 2 firsts from Sacramento. I could see people saying, hey, why would Sacramento do that? Shouldn't they be tanking? They do this all the time. They make these dumb trades where they think they're good and think that this is going to be pushing them. And they do it with the Bulls specifically. So I think that we have.
Yeah, I mean, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine didn't work in Chicago. What if they were older
we have
worse?
Historical precedents for this. So that's what I would throw out there when somebody says, hey, why would the Kings do this? I don't know, but they seem to do it a lot. And you get 2 firsts. Again, you get off the Giddey contract. You get a little worse. And I like Malik Monk as a player, so you get a veteran that can maybe be a little bit of a stabilizing force for a young team.
It's so funny to think about the Kings. I mean, a few years back, they were the 3 seed, and they're like, what if we just blew up the entire team and, like, forgot about everything that happened? Who cares about lighting the beam? They do make some very questionable decisions as a franchise.
People forget. So De'Aaron Fox, obviously a King. People forget Tyrese Halliburton, also Sacramento King, finals last year. Mike Brown, coach of the Sacramento Kings. He is now coaching for the Knicks.
Yeah, dude. I don't even exactly remember what happened. Like, why?
Yeah, they just fired. I don't know. They weren't. I will say so. They weren't as good. Well, so if we go all the way back to the Halliburton thing, they're like, man, he's a good player. I don't know if we can have him and De'Aaron Fox on the same team. And you're like, I don't know, man. They're kind of 2 really good basketball players. They're like, nah.
Give me DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine.
Yeah, and so
35 years
Halliburton
old.
is how they got Sabonis from the Pacers.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's a pretty clear Pacers win.
Yes.
And then Fox won it out, and the Kings are just a horrible organization. So we have about a minute. Is there another trade that you would like to highlight real quick before we get out into NFL news next segment?
I think maybe even like just a pick swap. If they're not super sold on Caleb Wilson, I don't know why they wouldn't be, because I do think he's very solid. But if they want to just get more first-round picks, I had the Bulls getting picks 8, 19, and 27 from the Nets, sending pick 4 to them. Gives you a couple extra chances to maybe hit on first-rounder guys, even if it is these mid to late first-round picks. Yeah. Just gives you a couple more chances to take a swing and maybe hit on, a guy that could maybe be starting one day or just a rotational player from day one. So if they're not super sold on Caleb Wilson, who seems to be the consensus 4th overall pick, then this could be a move that they'd be interested in.
Yeah, and you'd still at 8 be getting a good player that's a range for a Keaton Wagler or Darius A. Cuff, Kingston Fleming, just kind of one of the guards that drop. You would think that'd be a range for them. So I could see, like you said, if they've done their scouting and are like, Caleb Wilson's fine. But
he doesn't have a jump shot or all this stuff.
We'd rather have more bites of the apple. I could see that for sure. Yeah. We're going to take our last break, and then we got some NFL news. Big time stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now.
There's so much happening, both in video games, also in real life,
and in trades. And
should we just give the Super Bowl to the LA Rams? We'll let you know after this. Back to Midwest Mashup. We are talking some off-season football, because really football never stops when it comes to the NFL.
Stops.
Really, even college football is the same way with the portal now and so much stuff going on in the off-season. I was telling you the University of Florida Gators are recruiting
Shout out,
butts
man.
off right now. If they go 6-6, I'm going to become a monk and a full-time IndyCar fan. I digress. We'll go to NFL OTAs. Before we even go to OTAs, I realized that this is not really an OTA thing, but Caleb Williams is on the cover of Madden 27. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or lead into it at all. That is pretty sick. We're going to show you the cover right now. Hard. Yeah. Dude, I mean, crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
I forget which one is which. I think this is the base one here that you're seeing, and then the other one is like the deluxe edition or whatever they do, where it's more money and you get some more stuff. That Iceman cover, honestly, both. I should ask this first. Which one's your favorite? Is it the Iceman or is it the Air Jordan, Air Caleb, Chicago skyline in the background?
I almost feel like it's the Air Caleb.
Dude, I think so too, which is so funny because typically
the other one's so sick too.
Yeah, and typically the deluxe edition is supposed to be the sicker of the two. And I think the Air Caleb one is just so sick. So
I'm also shocked that he's on the cover.
I'm not expect it at all.
I'm not saying he's not a player that's not deserving, but like you said even before the pod, like maybe it would be Josh Allen or someone else who has just been in the league for longer.
Or Jackson Smith and Jigba just had a crazy season. I definitely could have seen him being on the cover.
Yep.
There were so many options.
Even Stafford as MVP.
Yeah, MVP for sure. I mean, it's just
But it's awesome.
He would have been low on my list, but man, we love to see it. Great for our pod. So
yeah, and the Bears really took the league by storm. I mean, they were pretty much the most exciting team all season just because of the comeback wins and the crazy throws. Yeah. And not only did Caleb's cover with the skyline in the back kind of pay homage to, Michael Jordan, obviously, and just the city of Chicago, but he had so many of those throws where he was kind of looking in that exact pose,
I mean, that's the Rome throw against the Packers.
Yeah.
It's wow.
Just so sick. It's awesome.
I can't wait for him. I need him to have an MVP style year this year. Could you even imagine? Fun. Oh, that'd be sick. Anyway, will it even matter though? Is the question, because the LA Rams. So if you guys didn't remember this, because I don't think we talked about it on the show. Again, we stick to for NFL the Bears and the Colts.
Yep.
But we had to talk about this just because of how this affects the whole NFL. Earlier in the offseason, the Rams traded for Trent McDuffie, and we were like, wow, that's a big hole that they filled because their secondary was just not very good. The rest of the defense was fine, and obviously their offense is ridiculous. Man, they're probably the favorites when it comes in next year. And then they said, we're not done, and traded for Myles Garrett. So the package is Jared Verse, who's a very good player in his own right.
Yeah.
A 2027 first, so next year's first, a 2028 second, and then a 2029 third for the best defensive player in football.
Probably of this generation.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, once Aaron Donald left football, it was Myles Garrett, and I don't think it's been close with anybody else.
And Garrett just broke the sack record last year, correct?
Yeah, 23 sacks.
Cool.
I mean, so the NFC is where the Bears play. How terrified are you now as a Bears fan?
I'd be very terrified. Myles Garrett he's a beast. He's an animal out there. It's unbelievable how good he is, and he is a game wrecker. Like, you as an offense, you build game plans around players like this. And now, like you said with McDuffie, they've already filled another hole, and the Rams could put up 45 points on any given night.
Because they also we didn't even mention, have the MVP at quarterback.
Yeah.
Along with possibly the best receiver in football.
Yeah, Puka's gross, and probably the best, maybe the best second in Devontae Adams. I mean, they're loaded. And obviously, in that Bears-Rams game in the playoffs, the weather was happening. Mm-hmm. Stafford was dealing with a hand issue.
Yeah, he had an index finger that he had hurt or something like that.
So, and obviously as a quarterback, that's huge, but it's like, playing these guys in a controlled environment, good luck.
Because then if they get off to a good start offensively and you start having to throw the ball and they can pin their ears back, it's ridiculous. Because there's some great videos out there, but their stump percentage was really high because they didn't have guys that were necessarily just getting to the quarterback, winning one-on-one. Verse had a lot of pressures, but not a lot of sacks because he's just straight power into tackles.
Yep.
Now they can do all that and generate pressure in that way. And then they also can just say, hey, Myles Garrett, why don't you go, destroy the tackle on this play? And he's like, perfect. Sounds great.
Yeah, just kill him. Just run right through him.
And they added McDuffie, like we said. They added Jalen Watson, the other Kansas City corner, as well in free agency. Like, this team,
they're reloading.
Outside of massive injuries, I'm really struggling to see how they're not the favorite going into this year.
And this is a team that just made the NFC Championship game. I mean, it's like they are no slouch already in their own right. And they're like, what if we filled pretty much every hole that we have with the best possible player that we could
You thought
add.
We couldn't get any better. Watch this.
You texted me when the trade happened, or we were texting each other. I could not believe what I was seeing.
No.
It was just unbelievable.
No. And people for a second, the Bears fans I saw on Twitter were like, dude, we're kind of in on this Myles Garrett thing, and then just instantly was like, never mind.
Yeah.
It's
there was like a 30-minute window when they're like, oh, Myles Garrett, like there's talks that he could be shopped right now, and it's like polls. No, it's
not
over.
happening.
It's
not
over.
Happening.
Yeah.
All right, enough Bears. We're gonna go to Colts.
Yep.
In OTAs, Tyler Warren had an amazing rookie year. It was overshadowed at the end a little bit by what Colston Loveland did, but don't forget the first 6 weeks of Tyler Warren, he legitimately, and you can go back to episodes that we were doing, he was playing like the best, at worst, a top 3 tight end in the sport. And Shane Steichen already has been singing his praises, saying he's ready to take the next step even better than what he was last year.
Yeah, and he's really, just praising Tyler Warren, I think, just for what he's been able to bring to the table already. He says here, I think it's just the little things, obviously, going into year 2, working on his body and getting into great physical shape, coming in and out of breaks. He's already had so much good production, obviously, as a rookie. And just for him to step up without Michael Pittman there, and you have guys like, Josh Downs and Alec Pierce is coming off an injury. So I think really to start the season, I expect Tyler Warren to be not only as productive as he was in his rookie year, probably more productive. He's going to be that go-to guy, that security blanket that can also get it done on all levels. So
100%. Who is going to throw the ball to him, though? Looking like still probably Daniel Jones. On Monday, Jones was in a 7-on-7 drill. As you could see, there were a bunch of videos floating out, too, of him just throwing routes on air, stuff like that, moving around a little bit. This is now 6 months after his Achilles tear. Skip down the Athletics' James Boyd said that the current expectation is for Jones to be in 11-on-11 drills, so full go stuff by the start of training camp. That is only a few months away. That would be a really quick recovery. And I know this has been the plan all along that he is going to play this year. I am just still very worried, even though the reports have been positive so far.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen guys, in sports these last few years, I feel like come back from these injuries faster than ever. But Daniel Jones has had, his whole career's been riddled with
it's
injuries.
Been neck, it's been shoulder, it's been knee, just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and you have to imagine, obviously, when he comes back from this, he's not going to be the same mobile threat that he was before. And I just think there's such a high chance of him re-aggravating this injury or just getting, re-injured somewhere else in the lower body if you're just rushing back from an injury like this. In a perfect world, he's starting week 1. I don't know if that's the right move, for his health and just – obviously, he gives them a better chance to win than Anthony Richardson or Riley Leonard when he's healthy. I don't think that's really up for debate now, but we'll see what happens, man. It seems like the Colts are kind of have tunnel vision when it comes to him starting week 1.
It really does seem like it's him or nobody because right now Richardson took the first snaps with the first team offense, but it's an almost 50-50 even split between him and Leonard.
Also, he might still be traded. So
right, exactly. So I think right now they're just saying, hey, Daniel Jones is going to be our starter week 1, and I guess we'll see, man, because I don't love how it looks. We saw it with Kirk Cousins, how he was compromised in that Atlanta season.
Yeah, dude.
And I think his was even a little bit earlier than Jones was. I'd have to go back and look out. It was at least similar timelines, but they couldn't have him take under center snaps because he couldn't get out to a wide zone handoff.
Yeah,
it's just tough. This is a brutal injury to recover from. Hoping he comes back full go. I'm skeptical, so we will have to see in week 1. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As always, Ethan,
guys.
Thank you for doing this alongside me.
Tyler, you're the man.
Great episode. Next week, we don't really have anything planned. Obviously, we'll do MLB, but we'll throw in something, I think, on the back end as well, something similar to this mock trades, and have a good episode as always. And you guys, have a good day and good rest of your week. As always, we will see you next week.